Fabulous Loon Bay Lodge on a wilderness river famed for trout, salmon, and black bass keeps its owners so busy taking care of visiting sportsmen and their families that they seldom have time to check up on the fish stories they hear. This time, however, George and Jean Wheelock are kissing the kids goodbye and are off to ride the Riley St. Croix, and as parents must occasionally do, have a little fun on their own. The guides are waiting for the boss. Beecher Scott and Elmo Wright, two prime pundits of the paddle, and other things traditionally woodsy in Canada. Living as they do right on the St. Croix River, the wilderness boundary between Maine and New Brunswick, George and Jean love it when that light chestnut canoe slides out over the water and they feel the pull of the river's current. One bank of the St. Croix is Yankee, Maine. The other is Canadian New Brunswick. During the War of 1812, residents on both sides took a pledge not to fight each other. However, a 40-year boundary dispute got going in the early 19th century. This Aroostook War was finally settled in 1842. The only recorded bloodshed was a battle between British and Yankee soldiers. All hostilities took place inside a tavern both sides were sharing. Now, of course, the St. Croix is a great river, loaded with sporting fish and spine-tingling rapids. Beecher is ready with pole and paddle. No motor here. Away goes Jean into the swirling white water. Jean has had a taste of spray and the thrill of riding the rapids, and now she can relax again as a new sight comes round the bend. It's a log drive. New Brunswick's pulp logs are piled up all winter, and then come spring, there's a big drive to the paper mills near the sea. Your next year's Sunday newspaper is being nudged along with pike, pole, and peavey by the lumberjacks. Using a pole, Beecher puts Jean into position for the fine fishing that lures sportsmen to the St. Croix. Jean is using a spinning rod. The line comes off the reel like thread off a spool, and bingo, Jean has a strike. It's as easy as that. Jean's got a smallmouth bass. Here's a fisheye view of a bass in trouble. That's the beauty of spinning from a canoe. Cast anywhere and play your fish in comfort. And now, here he comes, a nice wild bass. Meanwhile, George has his tough little bamboo spinning rod working. There are trout and tackle-smashing salmon in this stream, and it's just a question of time before he hooks into one. Every little turn of this big river is a pool, and you never know what you'll hit until it hits. There, a speckled trout, and George plays it on his thread line. And there's a tasty trout for lunch to go with Jean's bass. Before there's time to tell each other fish stories, there's another fast place in the river. And at the foot of the rapids, George wets the old line again, like that. It's a salmon giving the light plastic-impregnated rod a working over. Trout, bass, and salmon, one after another and all day long when the fishing is hot from June until September on the St. Croix. The scenic trip takes 2 days normally, and the Wheelocks take a look to see if Little Falls, the roughest spot on the river, is passable today. It is a boiling torrent. The party decides to spend the night and tackle Little Falls in the morning. Everything comes out of the canoes, lest the river rise during the night and the craft float away. Jean keeps plugging away. This spinning technique has her fascinated. The boss is fascinated too, but he's fascinated with both eyes shut. The roar of the river provides dinner music. In the morning, the water is still hissing and roaring over Little Falls. It's ladies first. Jean is going to make the run. And here she goes into the cauldron, where the action's hot and the water's cold. It's George's turn. And into the clear. When pole and paddle are in the hands of expert rivermen, there's never a mishap on New Brunswick's rivers. Back home, the Wheelock children are waiting to hear tall tales of the trip straight from Mama herself. Not just from Fisherman Dad, who tradition says is to be listened to with polite respect, but taken with a grain of salt. And George and Jean and family head up the hill to Loon Bay Lodge, full of the fishing fun and the whitewater thrills of a New Brunswick canoeman's holiday.